you've got your multi-function switch right here, turn signal, wipers. It also does high beams. So when you want to put the high beams on, you push the stalk, you know, toward the dash, and it locks into place. Well, watch what happens when I do that. So by pushing the stalk forward and having the high beams turn on, it turns off the low beams, and that sucks. Now when you pull the stalk toward the steering wheel, it does not lock into place, but look what happens. We get high beam and low beam. Let me ask you something. What fucking sense does that make? So the manual in the book describes it as flash to pass. I guess if you were going to pass somebody, you might as well just brighten them with your fucking high beams before you go around them. That's kind of stupid. Who the fuck even does that? I mean, think about this for a second. We do have the option here somewhere that will enable the low beams to stay on with the high beam. If only we could somehow harness the signal and make it do what we want it to do. That sounds pretty cool. Now, before we get in here and start doing stuff, I'd rather just explain it now, so that way you don't just see me cutting wires like, what the fuck is this guy doing? So follow me on this diagram, you'll see what I'm getting at here. So, as you can tell, there's a ground wire that comes up to the multifunction switch. When you push high or low beam select, which is pushing it forward towards the dash, this wire right here gets grounded. This light green wire gets grounded. When you take your multifunction switch and you pull it toward the steering wheel, that ground instead goes up through the yellow wire to the flash to pass signal. So think about it, when the BCM sees the flash to pass signal, it turns on the high beams and the low beams stay on. Well, that's kind of what we want to happen when we push the stalk forward and lock it. How about we just take the light green wire and cut it, and instead of the light green wire going to the BCM, the light green wire will now go over and get spliced into the yellow wire. So now, no matter which way you flick the stalk, it's going to have all four lights. We're going to go ahead and just splice them both so that no matter what way we push this stalk, it's going to ground this flash to pass signal, which is an input to the BCM. We're not going to do a whole course on how to read pinouts, but pretty much, you know, this says it's pin B9 of connector C3. This is pin A2 of connector C4, denoted by that little dashy line right there. So what we're pretty much going to have to do is find this light green wire and splice it in over here on the yellow wire. And that's going to take care of quads. So what we have to do is we have to get to the body computer in this thing. Body computer is right behind this panel. Got a couple 7mm screws I'm going to take out. So all I'm going to do on this trim panel is just pull him out a little bit, like that, and like that. And I should be able to pop this bitch right out of here. See right up here you got some little ditty clips that got to get kind of forced out. And right under here is the body computer, also known as BCM, also known as thinks he runs shit in the Tahoe, but he's sadly mistaken. Inside the gray connector, which is this one right here, we have to get the light green wire out of there. Over here on the light blue connector, we need to find the yellow wire. There are two yellow wires in here, but the one that we need is on the bottom row, second one over. Unplug that guy. And just so you can kind of see what I'm doing, I'm just pressing this tab down, which is going to pull that up. Kind of hard to show you, but that's what clips in. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do the same thing with the gray connector. Well, looks like I goofed when I read the diagram, because connector C3 is actually the brown one. So I'm in the brown connector here. So I've got this light green wire right here. That one right there. He is right to the left of the orange wire with the black stripe. He's the one that we're going to cut. So we know where he is. Just going to set him out of the way. Go over to the light blue connector. Flip him around. And as you can see, there's two yellow wires. The yellow wire that we want is next to the light green wire on its right and the white wire on its left. Before I go and cut anything, just draw up a little quick schematic here. We've got our light green, we've got our yellow, and this asshole right here, BCM. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the light green wire so that this is isolated from the BCM. The BCM will never get this input for what they call the dimmer, which is just high-low switch. We're going to take the other side of the light green wire that goes up to the headlight switch, and we're going to splice him in with the yellow wire that does go to the BCM. And this way, no matter which way we turn this high-low switch up here, whether to stupid flash to pass or, you know, high beams, the truck's not going to know, and it's going to keep the low beams on no matter what, which is, well, that's why we're here tonight. So I just had a piece of yellow wire laying around, and it's hard to get good lighting these days. So this is the yellow wire that I'm going to tap into. So score there, score there. Man, I don't know, what is your problem, Mr. Light? Light's been acting like a real asshole lately. Can you see what I'm doing? So I've got a little bit stripped off of that. And remember, the light green wire that we want out of here is the one that is right next to the one that is orange with a black stripe. Now on mine, the cavity next to that light green wire is empty, as you can see right there. That's the one we want. See, we've got this asshole light green wire in here too, and then there's a dark green one in there too. Those aren't the ones we want. This is the one we want. Now with this light green wire here, let me make sure I got the right one. Nope, I don't. See, just like that. Almost got them wrong myself. So with this light green wire, that's the one we're going to cut. I don't want to cut it too short, just in case for whatever reason I got to change it back. I don't know why that would happen, but definitely don't want to hook myself up like that. We're just going to cut him. Let me triple check it's the right wire. Yes. Boom. Done. Now this one that goes to the BCM, we're just going to tape him up, probably tape him up with all these guys so he doesn't touch any ground. That wouldn't be good. But now we've got to tie in the other side of this jumper wire that we made into this guy. So I'm just going to peel off a little bit more of this tape. Yeah, biatch. We can pretty much do this however we want. Man, that almost would have reached too, huh? So, strip him off. Strip him off. Now you're going to see me soldering these wires. If you're new to what I do, I solder everything. You don't have to solder it. You can just as easily just twist and tape these guys and call it a day. And I'm only saying that in this case because with all this stuff plugged in right here and with this cover on, there's not really a good chance of anything disastrous happen. And hit this with my heat gun. Since I didn't cut this yellow wire, I can't slide any heat shrink over it. So I'm just going to go ahead and tape her up. In all fairness, I guess I could have cut the wire and then just spliced this piece in and then used heat shrink. But I didn't. Oh. Now all I'm going to do is just take a small zip tie and go around this piece of tape just to give it a mechanical connection. So the last thing to do is just to take this guy right here and whatever's closest to him, which is going to I guess be these two, just going to put a small piece of tape around there. See, if that wire right there gets grounded, it's going to turn the low beams off and high beams on. So I don't want anything happening to this wire. So I'll tape him up with his two neighbors, keep him out of trouble. And just for peace of mind, put a small zip tie on that electrical tape, give it a mechanical connection. Cool. Let's test this shit out. Oh, you guys can't even see that. Shit. Well, you didn't really miss much. You just missed me struggling to put in connectors. I just want to test this thing out. Pull the stalk toward us. Push the stalk away. Look at that. Now we've got our high beams staying on with our low beams on. Nobody's in there touching the stalk. And that's exactly what we wanted it to do. Fuck yeah. Now you might be saying, wouldn't the computer kind of think that it's odd that the flash to pass circuit is being activated? Like let's say you're going down some long ass back roads, you know, like kind of like where I live, and that maybe the computer will see that circuit is grounded for, you know, 5-10 miles. Won't it like freak out or nothing? The answer is no. I did this mod to a Silverado of the same era. It was a 2003 Silverado. Pretty much the same setup like this. The computer in that truck is located in a different spot. So really in that one, I just used the multi-function switch wiring harness, you know, right under the column. Found those two circuits, flip-flopped them, and everything worked out great. Matter of fact, I've worked on that truck since, and actually at one point I did do a scan of the BCM for codes, and it had no codes in it. So as far as I'm concerned, this shit's gonna work out great, you know. So there you have it, getting quads on a Chevy Tahoe. This was done on a 2004. Should be the same for 03 to 06. When in doubt, consult somebody. I don't really know any good Tahoe or Yukon forums that cater to this platform. I've been posting little tiddly bits on GMT Nation under the full size section. Just some things I found on this truck or whatever. I will say at one point I did have this version of a mod done on my Trailblazer. Pretty much the same thing. And that was done by my man Sam, aka Bowtie SS. What's up, man? If you're reading this out there, ain't heard from you in a while. Hope everything's going alright, you know what I mean? Also the wife says hi too. Thanks for watching, like what you see, subscribe to my shit. So if I hold it in, same result as if I push it and leave it. So hands free, high beams with quads. Fuck yeah. Alright, what's up? Well, that footage you just saw was actually from like last year. I think it was either in December or it might even have been in January of this year. I really wasn't going to upload it until I was ready to do more stuff on the Tahoe as far as the lighting. You know, like a lot of other things, there's more than just one way to get those high beams to stay on with the low beams. Some people wrap diodes around relay legs and just shove them into the fuse block or whatever, and that's cool if it works for them. It doesn't work for me. I prefer shit that's built for the long haul, and you know what I mean, it's been almost a year I guess since I've done that mod. Everything still works 100%. There seems to be competition, I guess, when it comes to doing modifications, because it seems that everybody wants to be able to do it the easiest, the cheapest, and the fastest, you know what I mean? These frauds don't give a fuck about, you know, long-term results. They don't give a fuck is the mod built for the long haul, or especially in, you know, like my truck, can the mods sustain massive vibrations, you know what I'm saying? You know, whenever I do something, I do it for the long haul. I want to ensure that what I'm doing is, you know, going to last the life of the truck, which can include different things, you know? It's almost like people have this idea that, you know, faster's better, you know, or the cheaper's better. It's like, shit, I did that, it only cost me $3. Well, that's good for you, you know what I mean? I don't go on these frauds videos and preach how their way sucks or whatever. If that's what works for them, that's awesome. But if it doesn't work for me, I'm definitely not going to do it. You know what I mean? It seems to be popular where it's just like, just take a diode and just shove it into a connector and shove the other wire into another connector, and it's like, that's not for me, you know what I mean? Now coming up, I am going to do some more lighting mods on the Tahoe, and I am going to share that with you guys. I got some stuff that came in this week. Still waiting for a couple more things to come in to get this project rolling. Back in 2007, I converted my Trailblazer over to HID headlights and fog lights, and I kept them in the halogen housings. And that's just the way I did it, you know what I mean? When I did that, I adjusted the headlights accordingly. I don't just, you know, just do the bulb swap and put in some ballast or whatever, you know what I mean? Afterwards, I also adjust the headlights down a little bit, you know what I mean? I can say this, in the 8 years I've had HIDs in my Trailblazer, I've never been flashed once, you know what I mean? I've ridden in a car in front of both my Tahoe and my Trailblazer with HID lights, and the shit didn't bother me, you know what I'm saying? Now, a while ago, I put up a link in my other people's Trailblazer videos playlist, and I guess the dude had so much negative feedback that he ended up deleting the video, you know what I mean? If you prefer the look of, you know, HIDs and the projector lenses, that's awesome, good for you. I will admit, it does look great. I love that crisp cutoff line and all that shit. Unfortunately, to do stuff like that, it requires a lot of money, you know what I mean? And for me, considering that I can already see better at night, I've never been flashed, and just they work for me, I guess. You know what I mean? I don't have any personal reason to do any kind of a projector retrofit or get projector headlights. You know what I mean? If that works for you and that's what you prefer, that's great. But you're not going to come here and preach to me that that's what I should do to my truck. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm going to do a HID video in halogen, headlights or whatever, and I really don't give a fuck if you don't like it. You know what I mean? You're not going to save the world in the comments on my videos. You know what I'm saying? You can go fuck yourself. It's just crazy because, like guys on the forum, they're cool. They'll say, hey, you know what I mean? I prefer the look of projectors. I prefer not, scattering light everywhere. And that's awesome. You know what I mean? They state their opinion and that's it. But some fucking douchebags, especially on YouTube, you know what I mean? They want to push their ideas and that's it. And if you don't follow it, you fucking suck. You know what I mean? I feel bad for that dude that, he got enough negative feedback that, he had to just delete the video off of YouTube. That's kind of stupid. You know what I mean? The dude should have just turned off comments. You know what I mean? I thought the video was very well done. I wasn't even going to fucking attempt it after watching that dude's video. You know what I mean? But go down in the comments and it's all these people preaching about, just pretty much just copying what they read somewhere else on the internet. You know what I mean? I'm sure that those guys that say never use HIDs in halogen, housings, they've never had HIDs in halogen housings that were properly aligned. They never had, 8 years of daily driving on them without ever being flashed. They never seen none of that shit. It's just easier for them just to, just copy paste what they read somewhere. That's just fucking stupid. You know what I mean? Sure, there have been, vehicles that had improperly installed HID, bulbs in halogen housings that are misaligned. They're just all up in your shit while you're driving. You know what I mean? There are douchebags out there like that, I think is what gives, the whole thing a bad name. But like I've said, 8 years and never being flashed, that says a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I'll take that over what some fucking 15-year-old know-it-all that doesn't even have a car has to say. You know what I'm saying? In my Tahoe, I want it to be kind of like my Trailblazer. I just want it to be that when you turn the headlights on, the lows and the fogs come on, and they don't turn off when you flash it over to high beams. The way I'm going to do it, I think it's going to work really good, and I'm kind of excited to actually do it because the Tahoe lighting has been halfway finished for almost a year now, so it's going to be cool to finally get that thing done. You know what I mean?